A very warm welcome to you, and thank you so much for joining our Homeopathy 24/7 podcast. We are going to be speaking to an array of international guests who will share their knowledge and experiences of homeopathy with you. We will discuss all types of subjects such as remedies, symptoms, and stories of health. No matter where you are with your homeopathic journey, we aim to inspire you on your quest to natural health and living. The podcast is brought to you by Greensmith, the founder of Homeopathy 24/7, which is a global platform connecting you with a homeopath wherever you are in the world, 24 hours a day. So let's get started with today's chat. Please welcome Mary Greensmith.
This is Homeopathy 24/7's 100th podcast. So welcome. This is a real celebration of homeopathy, and I just want to spend a few minutes reminding you about what Homeopathy 24/7 is all about. We have got a team of homeopaths around the world, and these homeopaths are here for you, providing an acute consultation service wherever you are, whatever time of day or night it is. And by coming together around the world, we've got homeopaths from Australia, we've got homeopaths from the US, Canada, we've got homeopaths from Europe, from the UK, from Ireland, and it just means that we can be available 24 hours a day. Now, each of the homeopaths in the team is an independent homeopath, and they just have a set slot where they are available each week to provide a service for you. Now, obviously, we are helping you learn more about homeopathy and how to use homeopathy yourself and for your family. But I know how difficult it is when it's the middle of the night, your anxiety levels are up, and your child becomes sick. You need help. And I know what this feels like because I myself have rang in to Homeopathy 24/7 when I needed help. And in actual fact, for me, I was waiting for an ambulance, but I had loads of remedies on hand and I needed help and support to find the remedy that would most help me before I went to hospital. And this is the thing to remember, that if you have got remedies in your house, you can have a remedy even when you need emergency care. Now, for me, I had blood clots in the lungs, so it was pretty emergency. I knew I needed to go to hospital for this, but I knew that I could have a remedy whilst I was waiting. And that would not only calm me down and help me get through this process, but also start my body repairing. That was needed. So for me, it was a life-saving opportunity, really, to have somebody to talk to when I really was really stressed, really anxious and fearful for my life. I knew that the services, emergency services, were en route. Just to be able to talk to somebody who could talk me through it and be there was absolutely brilliant. And this is why we have got this service for you. Now, it also helps the homeopaths. It helps the homeopaths understand how to work with people around the world in different cultures, in different organizations, and with a different philosophy, perhaps. Obviously, some people have got lots of remedies available and other people haven't. We're obviously encouraging you to buy kits in so that you've got kits available, because when you have got a child that's really ill, it's really helpful if you have got a series of remedies. So what we're doing really is learning how best we can help you learn about homeopathy. And as well as Homeopathy 24/7, we have got some brilliant homeopathic groups. So Facebook groups where you can connect with homeopaths and ask questions and learn more about self-prescribing for yourself. Now, the reason we are encouraging everybody to do this is because homeopathy teaches you so much about your symptoms. about how to collect them and what they mean, how to interpret them, and how to help maintain health. So it's not really just for acute situations. It's not really for when you're ill. Homeopathy is all about how we can maintain health, how we can maintain good health and continue to improve our health even when we're not really sick. How can we be the strongest and the fittest that we can be? How can we be the most resilient and build our immunity? And we want to help you get used to homeopathy and used to using homeopathy in order to maintain and improve health ongoing. So if you haven't already, please look up our homeopathy groups. The website is homeopathy247.com, and you can click on there, going to the learning, and have a look at all of our Facebook groups that we offer. Our main Facebook group, where there's always a homeopath on duty, is Ask a Homeopath, and that is to help you learn. So they won't be prescribing for you. Obviously, it wouldn't be ethical for us to prescribe in a public area where other people come on and read and think that that same remedy would be the same for them, because it won't be. You know that. You know that everybody that comes on with a headache would be suited to a different remedy. So what we're trying to help you with is how to identify which remedies suit you and how to choose the best remedy according to how you are experiencing your symptoms. And it's really, really important for you to be learning this. Another thing about homeopathy is you never stop learning, and we're always going through the learning process and wanting to know more and more, because every time we come across a situation and we look up the remedies, we learn so much more. There's no way that you're going to be learning and knowing everything about a remedy. So every time that you are looking for a remedy, it makes sense to look it up and check the symptoms and check what else is in that remedy. So lots of learning material for you. Now, what I thought was we would go through a few of the episodes and the highlights from a few episodes that we have had over the last 100 podcasts. That's 2 years of podcasting. So let's have a look. First of all, we're going to look at Gitanjali. Now, Gitanjali is one of our team homeopaths, and she is talking about homeopathy for polycystic ovary syndrome. So PCOS. She has a group about PCOS. She helps a lot of people with PCOS, and it's just understanding your symptoms and perhaps learning a little bit about which remedies have helped each other and what we would be looking at in order to advise on how to move forward. Now, of course, polycystic ovary symptom isn't an acute condition. You're going to have acute flares where you really need to know what remedies might help you then and there, but it's a chronic situation. So we need to be having a look at where this is coming from and addressing the cause of this for you. So Gitanjali explains all of that. Let's have a listen.
Well, what are we going to talk about, Gitanjali? We've always got so much to talk about.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Mary. It is always a pleasure to talk about homeopathy. Thanks for allowing me to be on this and speak and just spread the word that PCOS can be easily manageable with homeopathy.
Yes, indeed. PCOS is such a big topic, isn't it? And we're seeing it more and more. What's happening?
Yes, absolutely. PCOS is a really a complex situation. There can be many factors which can be causing PCOS, but before getting into that, let's dive into PCOS, like as the name suggests, polycystic ovarian syndrome. There is always a misconception that PCOS is just about having cysts on your ovaries, but it is much more than that. Surprisingly, 30% of women with PCOS don't actually have these ovarian cysts. And on the flip side, approximately 20% of women without PCOS do have these cysts. So it is not as straightforward as just the presence of having cysts can be defining PCOS. PCOS is very difficult to spot because it doesn't always show up with the classic symptoms. You might be cruising through the life with symptoms like irregular periods, welcome hair growth in places where you don't want them, acne parting on your skin, or even you have been experiencing difficulty shedding pounds. But these signs might not be waving a PCOS flag, so they slip under the radar.
Yes, I completely understand.
Yeah, so basically, I would say PCOS is a whole body inflammatory disorder that causes a cascade of disruptions in your whole endocrine system, essentially the hormones that regulate your whole body. To get an official diagnosis, you gotta have signs of extra androgens, the stuff like high testosterone levels. That could mean that you will have to do some test where like you can show some signs of acne, and you can show some polycystic cyst on your ultrasound results. And there might be surprise hairs showing up where you don't want them, or you are saying bye-bye to the hair in places you would rather keep it.
Okay.
So now basically here is a catch, like you need to have this excess androgen situation, along with you should have the irregular menstrual cycles, or you should have anovulation. So anovulation basically means that when your ovaries are not releasing eggs regularly, or you are having polycystic ovaries like on the ultrasound results. So that is the must criteria to diagnose PCOS. It is very, very difficult to get pregnant when you have PCOS, and I have been treating a lot of cases.
Yes.
But every case is quite different. Some see results within like 6 months, some see results within a year. And sometimes to my surprise, when they had the first appointment, there is no pathology involved. Everything's like their tests are okay, everything is okay, but still they are not able to get pregnant. And they were just having the irregular cycles. So I just look into their overall picture and prescribe a remedy to regulate their cycles or whatever going on the emotional level, because I am a big kind of into the emotional health, because I have seen in 99% of my cases, I've been practicing from the last 24 years, to just give you the little bit idea that for how long I have been seeing these cases.
Yeah.
So in my 99% of cases, I have seen that when women are having the emotional turmoil going on, emotional traumas, shame, guilt, many grief, everything is involved, those generally manifest into physical symptoms. So when they actually start experiencing symptoms, and sometimes women are also carrying the ancestral trauma, emotional baggage from their mothers, from their grandmothers. So I look into all those aspects as well. And when we clear all those emotional blockages, and it clicks, and they just get pregnant very easily, it brings everything back into rhythm.
So there's such a lot of different aspects that have to be covered in order to clear and allow the emotional flow and then the physical flow to be able to get pregnant. What's amazing for me is that people can have tried so many different things and yet still they're in such pain, or their cycle is just so irregular, and just by using homeopathy and finding the remedies that can help regulate the cycle and the hormone structure, then everything changes, everything falls into place nicely. Have you got any cases that you can share? Tell us a little bit about how this actually works, seeing a homeopath.
Yeah, sure. I have a couple of cases I would like to share with you. And I am going to share my first case. It was of a woman who was 32-year-old when she came to see me. She presented with irregular periods. She was having acne issue, weight gain, all those classic PCOS hits. So despite feeling exhausted all the time, she had battled with the sleep disruptions, the frustrating tossing and turning throughout the night. And her hormonal profile, like she brought her blood work with her, and I looked at her blood work report, and it showed me that her testosterone levels were quite high. And she was prescribed conventional medications before too, but the side effects were bothersome and they were just aggravating her symptoms. And she felt like someone had flicked a switch and turning her usual vibrant self into a tangled web of emotions, and she couldn't navigate. So her body was protesting. She was having nausea, diarrhea, along with all those typical PCOS symptoms. So basically for her, every meal was kind of turning into a game of chance. But when she started the homeopathic treatment, after using the remedies targeted at her specific symptoms, she started to notice gradual improvements. So over the next few months, she noticed that there was a huge improvement in her weight, which was a constant struggle for her, and her mood swings that made her life like a roller coaster. Well, they started leveling out, and her energy levels, those were way up. Like she was able to kind of work more than 12 hours. She was a nurse, just to give her a little bit background. She was a nurse and she had to work in the hospital. Sometimes she had the night shift. Previously, she was not even to do her job properly. She had to take lots of days off. And when she came, she told me, that I have lots of energy, that even after the night shift, I can work whole day in the house, without any problem. Her energy levels were way, way up. And her acne reduced significantly. She started having a regular cycle. Mood swings were improved. And most importantly, her hormonal levels began to normalize.
That's amazing. It's a really good result, Gitanjali. And I know a lot of people will be asking, well, what did she take? What did she take? So we need to just explain that the remedies chosen will be remedies that match all of the different symptoms that are associated with the diagnosis that she comes with.
Yes, because as I previously mentioned, there are several layers which I'm peeling. So to peel each layer, every time when she was coming back for her appointment, I was prescribing him a different remedy. It was not always the same remedy, so I won't say that just one remedy was able to fix everything for her. So it took me several months and several remedies. They came in picture because every time I gave her a remedy, it cleared the picture more. And I was able to go over that picture and choose another remedy which would kind of solve the situation more for her.
So it's a bit like that. Health creates this ball, this onion, and we can go deeper each time. We can relieve one symptom. Another symptom has high energy because that was covered before by the symptom that we've just created. So we have to keep working through the layers. So if we start with young children, they have a lot less layers, but as we get older and older, we seem to have built up all of these health reactions, and we need to work through that, and that's why it takes a little bit more time. So everybody that comes is going to have different sets of layers and therefore need different sets of remedies.
Definitely. Yeah, because you see, as we age, we start to grow, we are we used to when Hahnemann started homeopathy, at that time, the word was not, we were not living in toxic world at that time. Now we are living in toxic world. If you look at, we can't get anything pure, everything is
I know. Even our water, Gitanjali, even our water has got all sorts of fluorides and things added to it. that
Yeah.
people's bodies react to it.
Definitely. And people who throw their medications, like conventional pharmaceutical drugs, in that water, and that gets mixed in the water, and you are drinking the same water, you are getting those medications unintentionally. Like
Yeah.
you're not even, like, there are antibiotics in milk and meat, like our producers has been sprayed with glyphosate, and so many things come into factor. Like I know, like now people are aware that we shouldn't be eating out of plastic, we should not use microwaves, but because it is leaching, like
Yes.
the estrogen mimic hormones, which kind of disrupt your hormones more. But still, like, these things are still happening. Like if you're eating outside, you don't know, like how they are cooking their food. You can control it at home, but not outside.
Yes, but it's controlling where your food's coming from as well, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
But like you said, the hormones are in the rivers, and because the cleaning mechanisms cannot get rid of this, and we know this because the fish are changing in the rivers. It's just incredible, isn't it, what's happening to our world?
Yeah, but I'm glad that we have homeopathy, because the
Yes.
personalized approach of homeopathy helped my patient feel better and manage the metabolic aspects of PCOS, enhanced her overall well-being. Her personalized remedy basically addressed the hormonal roller coaster, her emotional ups and downs. Isn't it fascinating how homeopathy takes this personalized approach, tackles symptoms while considering the unique constitution of each individual? So I always feel amazed.
Yeah. And the great thing is that nobody can mess with a homeopathic remedy, can they? We know that it's how it's produced and where it's produced. And that is lovely, isn't it? That we can keep it pure, keep it good.
Yeah, definitely.
One of the great things about our team of homeopaths that practice around the world and are available on Ask a Homeopath and Homeopathy 24/7 when you need acute consultations is that they all have obviously specialist areas that they really enjoy helping. And next, we're going to have a look at Lisa Robbins. She helped us with a podcast about helping teenagers and why she has an affinity helping teenagers and the sort of things that teenagers might come and ask for help for. So let's have a look at what Lisa has to say about homeopathy working for teenagers.
Tell me, you are working in a group providing homeopathy for teenagers and children. How does that work?
Well, they're a very unique group. They're not babies, they're not adults. They have a unique skill set and unique needs. And so from ages about 5 to 18, there's a bit of a gap. A lot of homeopathic forums and businesses cater to babies or to toddlers, or they cater to the elderly, or they cater to the adults. But the kids and teens, there's a bit of a gap there. And so we aim to fill it by providing useful advice to teens themselves and to parents, and one-to-one consultations with either. It is difficult in the sense that teenagers can be blunt, monosyllabic, cynical, incredibly independent. Whatever the parent says, they don't want to do it. They're snarky know-it-alls. They take risks which they shouldn't, or they're timid wallflowers that are afraid of everything. So you've got a really unusual group there, and they have a very good reason for being the way they are. Let me explain. They're worrywarts for such a good reason. Everything's new to them. There's so much change. They have hurdles that they need to jump over because they're morphing into this thing called an adult. They have exam stress. They want to be perfectionists. They also need to cut the apron strings, and they want to cut it. And yet, leaning over them are these helicopter parents who schedule them to the hilt, They have no time to just goof around and be themselves. They're constantly being monitored to protect. It's for your own good. I'm trying to protect you. They're also dealing with peer pressure, with sibling rivalry, and they're insecure. They're insecure about who they are. For one thing, their body's completely changing. I mean, there's hair where there wasn't hair. There are bumps where there weren't bumps. And this, who am I? So they've got this issue about identity physically, and then an issue about identity in terms of their peer group, or yes, I belong to my family, but I listen to my peer group sort of thing. And then, of course, you've got today's issues, which are completely different from what teenagers used to face. There's social media. If someone's bullying you, you bring that bully home to your bedroom with you because it's on your phone. It's with you all the time. There are gender issues, which never used to be an issue way back when, but suddenly, who are you? And do you want to be what you were born as? So there's all sorts of things going on that provide huge challenges to them. And I can understand why they're worrywarts.
Exactly, gosh, and so well explained, Lisa. And just taking all of those factors into consideration, how can homeopathy help?
Well, the same way it would help an adult or a baby or the elderly. Yeah, they do have these unique issues. But let's say they've got a problem with acne or with weight, with body shape. They're insecure or they're anxious about who likes them and who doesn't. Homeopathy can address the mental, emotional, and physical problem in a way that conventional medicine really cannot, in the sense that a conventional medicine would target the specific problem that they're having. I'm having stomach issues. I've got acne all over my face, and it will do a marvelous job getting rid of that. But then whatever was underlying, whatever the root cause of that acne or that stomach ache might be, is still there and can rear its head in another way, can be suppressed by conventional medicine, not always, but sometimes, and then go deeper. Or the conventional medicine can provide a side effect that then needs another medicine to deal with. So homeopathy can help by addressing the very same issues physically or emotionally or mentally that the conventional medicine can address, but naturally and holistically by sparking the body to heal itself.
Yeah, it's just amazing, isn't it, that we have got this medicine that just can address things that sometimes isn't any other answer for as well.
Well, I mean, there's Prozac and there's marvelous. I forgot what cortisol.
Yeah.
And what's the other, PPIs that you can use to take care of the troubles that are going on mentally or emotionally or physically. The problem is they can sometimes be addictive and they can sometimes create these side effects. So the beauty of the homeopathic remedy is that it will allow the body to rebalance itself. It isn't going to be overnight, mind you, which some conventional medicine can be, but
yeah. Whilst you are talking to teenagers and children, are you also able to advise how to improve their sleep and how to improve their diet, that sort of thing, alongside homeopathy?
Well, our remit is the homeopathic remedy.
Okay.
However, and we do mostly that, but on our websites, and also when we have our full consultations, and finally sometimes toward the end of the post, and certainly toward the end of the website blog posts, we will say you can supplement this with, and then it might be a tissue salt, for instance, or a cell salt, as we call them in the United States, or it could be a change in your diet. And that's the thing I wanted to say about educating. When you have a consultation with a patient, you ask them questions that that make, I think, I mean, I've never really read this anywhere, but that make them think about themselves, about what their, how they think and what their perspective is, and perhaps even begin to question why they are, and what comes out of this is they realize, I've been stuck, for instance. I mean, that's just one example. Or they think about how a particular repetitive habit isn't best working for them, by asking the questions, by kind of exploring the origins of how they got where they got. You're educating them to think about themselves, and I actually think that is the first step toward healing. Being aware, being able to accept, to see what it is in you that's imbalanced, and then of course the remedy will reinforce that. Sometimes there's a weakening that happens when your immune system isn't healthy, and so you then have a propensity to feel well, to catch cold more easily, or to contract the whatever it is that's going around. And other people who are sitting right next to you will have no trouble at all, and it's because of your past, your history. So we need to know that. We need to know about their parenting, about their birth process, about where they are in the family line, about what has happened to them that has led them to be who they are now. The histories makes them who they are.
Of course, and you bring all of that information in, and then you're able to go much more deeper, I suppose, with the remedies to address the cause rather than just the symptom that's presenting at the moment.
And some patients don't like that.
Okay.
Some patients don't want to go down there because whatever it is what ended up turning into that illness or that ailment. So of course they don't want to go down there. And so what we have to do is work with them, work together. We're on the journey together. We try to be the unbiased, unprejudiced observer that is sitting on the train opposite them, and we're both looking out the window of their journey together. We're alongside them. We're not we're not like a dictator and a disciple or something. We're taking that trip with them. We're encouraging them to address those things, because as I was saying earlier, if they're willing to look at that, it is the first step toward rebalance and well-being.
Thank you very much, Lisa, for explaining everything about what you do and how you help teenagers. Next, we're going to revisit the podcast by Caroline Masters, who talks about homeopathy helping with performance anxiety. Now, this is really important, and it really was very important for Caroline to do this, because anxiety is one of the things that Caroline used to suffer from. She does musical instruments and performs, and it is something that she really struggled with. So she has personal experience of this, and this comes across when actually talking and recording. So you can see just the human element of actually bringing what we've experienced to our teaching. So enjoy this revisit the podcast Homeopathy Helping Performance Anxiety with Caroline Masters. Thank you very much for joining us today. I have the pleasure of introducing Caroline Masters, who is one of our homeopaths on the Homeopathy 24/7 team and enjoys taking acute consultations and helping people in the groups. Caroline, welcome. Being a homeopath, what do you love about being a homeopath?
Well, I love helping people, to be honest. I think the thing that sort of pops out often is anxiety. A lot of people seem to struggle with anxiety, and there's a limit as to what you can ask the doctor for, really, to help that. And it's unraveling really what the root cause is, and it's supporting them in their journey. I had a wonderful patient who was on a strong antidepressant for a very long time, and she managed to step back from the doses she was taking relatively quickly, really. Within, not very many months, she was really feeling good about herself under the care of her psychologist as well. So, I thought that was amazing, and she's very grateful too, and it's lovely. That's so nice to be able to help other people like that, really.
It's life-changing, this, isn't it? Because
Yes.
all of a sudden, fear creates habit so quickly, doesn't it? So of course, if it's painful, you're not going to want to do it again. So of course the body does something to stop you getting in that position again.
No, that's right. It can go in a cycle, can't it, really?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. And of course, with homeopathy, then we can break that cycle and change the habit. But of course, it's not just fear, is it? It could be other emotions. It could be grief, or something's happened that you've still got to do something. You've got to come through the overwhelm.
That's true, yes.
Let's talk about some of the remedies.
Okay. So I would say the one that my go-to is Gelsemium. That's the key one for stage fright, really. It's when you feel a bit trembly, a bit dizzy, a bit weak, really. You might have a bit of a headache as well. And it's that paralysis, that physical and mental paralysis. Your mind goes completely blank. You just don't want that when you're about to go and perform, do you?
That's right. That's right. So yeah, and am I right in thinking that Gelsemium, you kind of slow down and get quiet, and things go out of your mind, whereas some of the other remedies are more of, oh my goodness, what's going to happen, and then they get really talkative.
So like Arginit's a bit like that, isn't it? Yeah, the fear of the unknown. We're all panicky about what might happen. The worst thing possible, might fall off a cliff. Actually, there's a fear of heights in that remedy, isn't there?
There is fear of flying, fear of heights. Fear, and the upcoming event, it could be an interview, couldn't it? It could be an exam, it could be anything that's in the future, but it's really making you restless and I say, heightened emotions. So you talk more, you talk faster, but also a lot of stomach issues with this quite often as well, isn't there? So you might be having butterflies in the stomach, you might actually be feeling sick.
That is true, yeah. That's right. Yeah, I mean, Aconite's one of those that if you're having to run to the loo, unfortunately, that's one of those. That's an intense kind of fear, though, isn't it? It's that sudden anxiety, like a panic attack. Sometimes you get palpitations, and your heart's racing, and so on. And actually, as you were saying about being connected to past trauma, it can be a good remedy if that's something that's been part of the picture as well. And you can have that dry mouth, that feeling of needing to have a little drink because you're so nervous, so anxious.
Of course, Aconite is just full of fear, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Aconite is the brilliant remedy for waking up in the night with a start.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's just brilliant if somebody thinks, because it is heart stopping, isn't it, when your subconscious body is actually fearful. There are things going on there that haven't come out, and you've got that physical jerking in the middle of the night that is so scary for people.
Yeah, that's right. That's a good one for that.
Yeah, brilliant remedy. And of course, it's really good for after an event as well. A big shock, any trauma, Aconite is the go-to remedy after that,
you're quite right. Yeah, that's right. Yes. So I think the only one we haven't mentioned that could be brought up is Arsenicum album. That's one that's really for people who like to feel in control, isn't it? So they can feel really wobbly if it's all not going to plan. And the restlessness and maybe shortness of breath as well, because it's such an asthma remedy. Yeah, not wanting to be left alone, needing a bit of comfort, all those things.
Yeah. And as you say, very high energy and very controlling. And really, that's the fear of losing control in that
That's right.
remedy, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got quite a
Brilliant.
nice handful, really, haven't we, to
We
help
have.
people. I mean,
We
there's
are.
more.
We are so lucky, aren't we? And I just keep thinking, I just keep saying that you know, it's just got to be our job to help people realize that there is a choice, and the homeopathy choice, the homeopathic choice is easy. It's easy to, you know, all of the remedies that we've mentioned are available in natural health stores. They're
Yeah,
easy
they're
to
all in
come
the little
across.
kits. A lot of the kits that you can get, the ones on H247 and other places too. That's right. They're not unusual remedies, are they, at all?
No,
Yeah.
but they can be life-changing because they
Yeah.
can change the habit that you know, fear, pain creates a habit of reaction, and we need to break that cycle, and we need to change it to be able to do something different. And there aren't many Western medicines that are going to be able to do that, are they? Because
No.
people are so scared to come off antidepressants because they just go right back to where they were.
Yeah,
Even worse
it's
in some
hard.
cases.
Yeah.
That was great, wasn't it? Just to revisit some of the old podcasts and just understand what it is, the diversity that we've been covering within Homeopathy 24/7 podcast. Now, going forward into the future, I want to take this podcast further. I want to bring it more into the open about homeopathy living, about choosing the way that we live and making health choices. And with this in mind, we're going to open up the podcast. As you know, I have just moved to a little tiny island, and I'm just experiencing so many things that make me think, oh, that is so homeopathic. Oh, that is so interesting, making us understand that everything that we do has consequences. Everything that we say just might be life-changing. We can choose everything, every aspect of our life, and we can choose how we live, and we can choose what we eat, and we can choose what we do, and we can choose so many aspects of life. And just talking to people about the choices that they make that are right for them, and why we need to do that, and why sometimes, just like homeopathy, it means going against the grain. It means going against the norm. It means going off on your own, away from what is usually expected. And quite often, as homeopaths, we find that we are often in conflict with family members or groups of people who don't agree with what we do. And we have to be okay with that, because we have to be okay with the choices that we make. And so this opens up such a diverse subject for us to discuss. So I hope that you are going to enjoy us branching out a little bit and talking about how to feel comfortable when it is uncomfortable, how to feel comfortable with making choices that go against the main population, against what people might be expecting of you. And I want to be talking to lots of people and their experiences, so that we can learn that actually there are millions of people just like us who enjoy making decisions and making choices that are not with mainstream. And of course, that's exactly what homeopathy is. So anyway, let me introduce. Next week, I'm going to be talking to Karen Watkins, who runs the hair mineral test, mineral check, that homeopaths use quite often in order to understand what might be some of the underlying causes of ill health or health imbalance. So it's just a check that we can use. Obviously, homeopaths can't do tests themselves, but just understanding how a hair mineral test might work really helps you understand what is happening in your body, and sometimes why certain remedies aren't working so well, because there is a maintaining cause that needs to be cleared. So next week, I'm going to be talking to Karen Watkins about hair mineral testing. I look forward to seeing you there. Take care.
I do hope you've enjoyed these episodes, and I do hope you can subscribe to our channels. Now, there are various ways for you to listen to our podcast or watch it on video on YouTube. So whether it's iTunes, Spotify, or YouTube, please do subscribe and please do leave us a review. If you leave us a review on these platforms, then more people will see our podcast. We just want more people to share the joy of homeopathy. It's a choice that everybody should know about. Please do everything you can to help us help more people.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode and look forward to listening to our next one. Please don't forget to follow our podcast on your chosen channel, and please do leave us a review so we can continue to share homeopathy with as many people as possible. If you do have any questions, please do reach out to us on any of our social platforms mentioned in the show notes. We at Homeopathy 24/7 hope to empower you on your natural health journey.